This week, we are going to be looking at how markets are related. So we're looking at the markets for goods and services like iPhones and cars, and we're looking at the markets for labor. So demanding workers, people are supplying workers, businesses demand it, that determines wages. So we're looking at how the markets are related, and we're looking at how changes in demand and supply change prices and wages as we look at these different markets. So to get us started, let's look at the iPhone. So every September, a new iPhone tends to be released, and this is the iPhone 12. In September of 2021, we expect the iPhone 13 to be released. So let's take a look at what's happening with this particular product and demand and supply. So right now, if you were to buy an iPhone 12 and we want a 6.1 inch display, and let's assume we want about 128 gigs because no one's really buying 64 gigs for their phone. So we see that it's going to cost about $11.99 or $1,200. So if we were to draw our graph, here's demand for the iPhone, here's supply of the iPhone, and we have our market price of $1,200. Now, this $1,200 is based on the customers and the amount of customers that are willing and able to buy an iPhone. If the iPhone price was lower, let's say $800, then we'd have more people who would be able to buy an iPhone and willing to buy an iPhone. Now, as that price goes up, if it goes up to say $1,500, then less people are willing and able to buy. Downward sloping demand curve. And I'm going to move my face so that you can see what I'm drawing here. So we have a certain amount of iPhones that are being sold at the current price of $1,200. Now, we're hearing news about the next iPhone, the iPhone 13. So what do we know about the iPhone 13? Well, the rumor so far says that we're going to have more size choices. We're going to have a smaller part of the phone be cut out in terms of losing screen because of cameras and microphones and so on. We're going to have a faster chip in it. It's going to have 5G. It'll have better cameras and so on. So as we look at this information, if it's a better quality product, if people have been waiting for a faster phone, a phone with telephoto or macro or better lenses and cameras, then we expect there to be a higher demand for the new phone than the existing phone. So if those new features are things that make it more popular, that increase the preference people have for the phone, that demand could drive up the price. Now, what we're hearing about the new phone is not so much about an increase in demand, but what we're hearing is there's an increase in cost to make the new phone. So as we add fancier chips and better glass, those types of things increase the cost to make the phone. But on top of that, we are seeing disruptions in the supply chain that are impacting the ability to produce the components of the iPhone. So it's become difficult to make the chips that go into electronics simply because during COVID, more people bought computers. So that means more demand for the chips that go inside of it. At the same time, we have more people mining things like Bitcoin, which requires more chips as well. And COVID has led to factories having to close due to outbreaks. All of this is impacting the availability of the chips that go into computers. And these computers can range from your phone to your laptop to even your car. And as all these businesses compete to put more automation, more memory, more speed into electronic devices, then there's more demand for the components that go inside, and the companies that are producing these chips are having to decide who gets them. And so we have a bit of a bidding war. And so the impact that has on the iPhone is that increased chip production cost, because they were shut down for a period of time, because there's more companies that want chips. All of that is driving up the cost to make the iPhone. In fact, what we're hearing is that companies that make the chips like TSMC are increasing the price that they're putting on the chip of about 20%. And the impact this will have on an iPhone is an increase in the price of 3 to 5%. So if we go back to our graph, what's happening here is that at the current price, okay, so let's assume there's increased demand for that better featured phone. At the same time, it costs more to make that phone. So we're actually seeing this shift in the supply curve, because for the current quantity, it's costing more to make it, which keeps driving up the price even more. And so we're expecting when the iPhone 13 comes out in September 2021 that it'll cost 3 to 5% more than the current price of the iPhone 12. So we have to understand what's driving demand, what's driving supply. All of that is going to impact the price you pay. Now, these disruptions due to COVID that are impacting the production of chips, well, that impacts the iPhones. It's making it very hard and expensive to find a car. But they also see supply chain and production disruptions in other industries with other products. And so other goods are becoming more expensive. It's difficult to ship materials across the world because there's a shortage of shipping containers, which is making the price of everything you order online go up. When we have factories and manufacturing plants having to close because of COVID outbreaks, that means they're producing less. So if we look at like meat production, the cost of meat has gone up. As all of these prices go up, we have to think about the workers as well. And we have demand and supply for our workers. As a worker, if you're looking for a job, let's say you've been laid off and now you're looking for work, you need a higher wage to cover that increase in cost of living, because food is costing more, iPhones are costing more, cars are costing more. So you're going to demand a higher wage. Okay. And businesses as well, their costs have increased because that increase in shipping, because they can't get, there's a shortage of shipping containers. That increase in cost to the business makes it difficult for businesses to hire more people. All their extra money is going to the increased shipping cost rather than additional workers. So there's this relationship between the markets for goods and services and the markets for labor, where we have demand for labor, supply of labor, that's going to determine wages. So this week, we're going to look at how these different markets are related and what shifts demand and supply.